breeze blowing, storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to begin. I remember what the drunk donkey told me when he said, son, don't fear. That's where the page life is about to begin. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. There'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend Mike, he's your man. Then he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here at Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide.
Hi, good morning, everybody. What's up? I think we're on Instagram, Shelly. Oh my God, we had like echoing going on. I gotta get a new monitor. We're streaming on 4 platforms right now. We're trying. Holy cow. Not enough coffee. All right, what's going on? It's a special daily brew this Saturday morning. Hope everybody's doing well. We got a lot of weather to talk about. Big storms brewing. Been talking about it all week. It's finally happening. We're getting a drizzle here at home. Yucky outside. You can feel it coming. Kind of cold and damp. So there you go. So welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Mike from Mike's weather page. Disclaimer: I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just a hobbyist weather dude. We call people like me meteorologists. So always refer back to the National Weather Service for official information, and especially your local TV meteorologists. They're the best ones to cover weather events like this specifically to your area. So trust those folks too. But we do appreciate all the support, especially all you Brew Crew members, all subscribers. We are crowd-funded, and we appreciate all the support. So here's what's cooking. I got some graphics open. We're not going to say hello. I want to get right into the weather. So hello, everybody. When weather's slow, we say hi to almost everybody. But people were asking if I was going to go live today. I got Shelly to fire up the old computer over there and on the East Coast, so we could do this special little live. Here's what's going on. Big old weather mess. We have a big low pressure to the north. You can see that right here. That's bringing down a jet stream, upper level winds. We have that developing cyclone. Yes, they call this a cyclone. Look it up. All the haters out there that tell me I'm an idiot. They do call these cyclones because there's areas of low pressure. And it's happening. You can start to see it. We're getting this drier. Everything down here is starting to wrap. And this is what we're worried about later today, tonight, overnight, and then tomorrow along the East Coast. So this is what's happening now. The water vapor loop. Morning satellites starting to show a little bit of bubbling out here. Some big convection on these cloud tops. So this is yet to get here. So it's still hours away before the big stuff gets here. You can see the energy coming down behind it. It's going to help magnify this thing. Current winds, pretty interesting to show these. These are surface winds. You can see where the low pressure is at, trying to develop. So there is a low pressure area. It's not a hurricane. It's not a tropical storm. It'll feel like one for some, but it's not named. We named it Vixen because of the spirit of the holidays. For sure. But we do have time to do a cheers. Cheers. And of course, our daily brew is brought to you by our great friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Not a normal daily brew, but we love them. Had a great time with Drew Garabo yesterday and John Sinning too. Thanks for listening. If you got to hear that one. But there's our surface low taking shape, 1,000 millibar, right? It's big, broad, low, but look at that. Pretty darn impressive, right? This is what they're a little worried about. This thing is going to slide over to the Florida Peninsula. There's going to be a lot of energy later in the day feeding up into this thing. And this is what they're worried about. That's why the whole peninsula is marked yellow. It's coming. Here's the new storm prediction outlook. Yellow area is pretty significant. Don't get caught up in the yellows and the greens. Just be aware that during El Nino years, we have had significant tornadoes in yellow slight number 2 risk areas. So, not saying it's going to happen. It's just there have been EF2 pluses over the years in these yellow areas. There's been an EF3 in dark green, so you got to take it, seriously. There's a chance, and these could be nocturnal overnight. It's impossible with any tornado system like this to pinpoint exactly where the severe weather is going to be. It's just impossible. The state of Florida is really not that wide, so. There's going to be storms developing. It's going to be coming up through the state, and I'm going to show you some future radar and stuff. But again, with El Nino winters and history, yellow, you stay aware. Here's the tornado outlook, pretty much brown. There probably will be a tornado watch later today into tonight. So pretty much the whole Florida Peninsula is going to be under tornado watch tonight, overnight hours. Now, one thing the Storm Prediction Center brought up was the NAM 850 winds above surface and the instability that we're going to be seeing pretty much throughout the day. So this is, I know this is, hard to look at if you're not really, I don't even know what I'm looking at, but this is upper level winds. We're going to have a lot of winds coming in with this approach. This is a very complex system. The reason being is there's so much uncertainty, but there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of energy, a lot of convection that could produce updrafts, that could produce strong storms, supercells, tornadoes. But this is one thing that the National Hurricane or National Weather Service is talking about, Storm Prediction Center. It's just the amount of upper level wind energy on the NAM. Tomorrow, so here's dark green. What does this mean when you say tomorrow, Sunday? Believe it or not, everybody's in Florida, everybody in Florida is pretty much done by morning. So this means Sunday midnight to 7, 8 a.m. So even though we're still dark green, this is a continuation of our storms overnight. So most of the state of Florida is going to be okay tomorrow. Very windy. But as far as storms go, it's all going to be shifting towards the East Coast. So we have a yellow area in the Carolinas now. Primarily wind concerns. There's not a large discussion yet about tornadoes. There are always a chance that you could get a spin-up tornado in this setup. It's just they're not discussing it as a highly possible event yet. Here's your dark green. This is a continuation overnight tonight, overnight early Sunday morning hours in South Florida. And this, of course, the Carolinas for tomorrow. So anything that there's a chance of tornadoes will be coming in off the Atlantic more morning, early afternoon tomorrow for the Carolinas. A big wind event for Carolinas northward. We're talking 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts. It's going to be a huge issue along the coast for those folks into Sunday. And then Monday all the way up to New England area. People ask about rainfall. Definitely. We got 3 inches pretty much for everybody still expected to come. I know you all in South Florida were making fun of the forecast because it showed higher totals. Well, guess what? Our system is going to expand outward, and there's going to be some chances of some rain training over there on the southeast coast of Florida. But darker reds, 3 to 4 inches, all the way through Georgia, South Carolina, into the mountains of Carolina. That's still yet to come. That's only through the next couple days. So it's going to be a lot of rain to come. We do have a flood potential map. I don't have it open here, but it's down here. This is today. Anybody yellow could have flash flooding because of rain trains today. Tomorrow, obviously, it extends to the north for Sunday. And then on Monday, we actually have the same rain all the way up into Maine for that. Okay, so here is let's look at the latest timing of this system. Let's go to tropical tidbits. Everybody wants to know timing. Well, right now it's already raining, so it's here. But this is what the HRR looks like. Let's just kind of go hour by hour. This is 12Z. It's tough to know, I know, but this would kind of give you a heads up at least throughout the day. All right, so early afternoon, we're starting to see storms. So the Storm Prediction Center talks about this. The energy is wrapping around this system. That radar that I showed you, the energy is coming around the backside. It's going to be coming up through Florida. They're talking about weeks rotation supercells starting later morning in the Keys, and these are going to go up. So everything that is happening is kind of rotating around like any tropical type of system. So we're starting to see cells develop early afternoon in South Florida. I just saw a marine advisory for Key West area, so it's already happening down there right now. Currently, you can verify that. We can look at radar real quick. You can start to see things happening down there already. So there's your heavy stuff. We already got 2 marine warnings now. So like they said, morning time, these storms that are already brewing down here in the Keys are going to make their way up through the peninsula later today, later morning into early afternoon. So here's your early afternoon, basically, and this is it. I mean, it's a pin the tail on the donkey situation. Who's going to get it? When's it going to come? What cells are going to be strong? There is a lot of evidence that we're seeing rotational storms coming up through the state, around the state. Most of them are going to be heaviest, like any kind of tropical system. It's going to be on the right side as this pulls up energy out of that Gulf of Mexico. We still have 81, 82 degree water temperatures right now, where this low pressure is expected to be later this afternoon. So this is later this afternoon. There's your storms, anywhere, any place. Here's evening time around 7 p.m. tonight. Already seeing big bands of storms starting to slap in. We're going to have a lot of, typical feeder bands. They're going to be coming in. I mean, you can see it already. Look, we'll zoom in a little closer here. I don't know, that's about as close as I can get on tropical tidbits. Maybe that's about as close as I can get. But anyway, there's your feeder bands. 1, 2, 3. There's your pressure starting to drop. So one thing that's happening with this system, it's the pressures are dropping pretty quick. The Euro had it down to 993 last night's run. It's a little higher on the 6Z run. But overall, this is going into the nighttime hours now, around 8 p.m. Storms 9, 10, 11. Overnight. This is overnight. This is what they're worried about. Heavy storms around the midnight hour, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. This is still hasn't even daybreak yet. This is still several hours from morning. This is like, 2, 3 in the morning right now. So you get the idea. Overnight storms. Now we get to morning hours. This is about wake up for most folks. This is 6, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning. So 7 in the morning, look at that. Tomorrow morning, this thing's coming fast. There's your storms now pushing into Georgia, and here is what's going to be coming for the Carolinas. So by morning tomorrow, most everybody clears out. Even our last little tail goes through the Bahamas. So again, this is brewing today. You're going to see it on your radar. This is, let's see here. This is tonight, PM, 12 hours from now. And here's, into overnight. about midnight. So long, East Coast. This is, I posted this yesterday. We're seeing a big old tail wrap around, as we see with any like a subtropical type of system. There's going to be a lot of energy here rotating in from the backside on this thing, fueling any last second storms as this thing gets a classic comma look. 998, 997, and then we got to worry about tomorrow. Here's tomorrow morning, and this is what they're worried about tomorrow. Heavy rain. This is throughout the day. This is 8 a.m. tomorrow. Now we're going to see this low pressure taking shape. Any rotating pressure storms are going to be coming in off the Atlantic throughout the day, and that's, right there. So most of your strong storms are going to be morning, early afternoon for the eastern part of Carolina. Heavy rain, though, for the mountains. Could be some flash flooding concerns for sure. We're talking 983 pressure tomorrow midday. Tremendous pressure. Brad Panovich said this could be one of the lowest pressures for Charlotte. One of the lowest pressures. So that means winds. We're going to have a lot of winds. I'm going to show you a wind map. We're showing 50, 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts coming in off the Atlantic. It's just, low pressures pull wind in, and that's going to pull wind off of those Atlantic, and that's going to drive waves. I'm going to show you a wave map. It's a tremendous amount of waves out there. So beach erosion, beach impacts are going to be huge tomorrow for the Atlantic seaboard coastal areas. 988 pressure. So if you live in Florida, it's going downhill all day today. Unfortunately, overnight, have a weather radio. Make sure your alerts are on your phones. And again, it's impossible to pinpoint where there could be a tornado. When you have a complex system like this, we're going to have areas coming in off the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to have dry areas over land, and we're going to have Atlantic energy coming in on the backside around towards the East Coast. So let me show you a lot more here. Hopefully this helps. At least this only goes out 48 hours. But timing for, let's say, tomorrow evening, let's say. Here's tomorrow evening, Sunday evening. Pretty much cleared out of Georgia, a little bit left in South Carolina. There's your last little powerful band. It's going to start losing some energy as this pushes over. And look at this band. It's probably going to reach our friends over in Bermuda, too, on Tuesday. It looks like Monday, Tuesday, as it goes away. So big wind event regardless of storms here as this thing continues to track northward. All right, so here is some very specific stuff. Now, they're not talking about surge, okay? It's such an unknown. However, living along the Florida West Coast, I just would be paying close attention. I already saw one city is doing sandbags in Pinellas County, so that some residents are taking this serious. A deepening low pressure area approaching any body of land, you're going to have strong winds. Now, I was talking to my buddy Dylan Hubbard, shout out yesterday. Currently, this is the tricky part. This is where I'm skeptical that we'll see anything too significant, but I don't want to say that, even though I just did. So this is an educational storm at the same time of paying close attention. Currently, because of the nature of the winds, we have winds driving water out of the bay, out of the Gulf, because the winds are still coming across the state. We really don't see this wind shift. This is Saturday at 10 p.m. We really don't see any sort of wind shift until the low approaches, and this is like 2 a.m. This is 1 a.m. So the question mark is going to be, the 2 or 3 or 4 hours leading up to high tide tonight. High tide for folks across the west central parts of Florida is anywhere from midnight to 3 a.m., roughly 1, 2, 3 in the morning tonight. So the low is approaching at that exact time. Here's Saturday, 2 a.m. Let me rewind. This thing fast forward is a lot. It's really hard to get it to stick. All right, here's 2 a.m. Stop. All right. Here's the latest Euro. So 2 a.m. These are your pressures, 999. This would be when we need to watch if we were going to see any water rise. GFS is the same. A little more winds at 2 a.m., showing 48 mile an hours for St. Petersburg, 49 mile an hour wind gusts on the, Euro or GFS. Surprisingly, on the GFS is showing this, because usually it's a little lower than the Euro. But again, this is 2 a.m. tonight. Wind directions pushing up towards the coastal areas. We're going to have high tide at 2. So this would be, if we were to see some fast water rise, it would be around this time frame, 2 a.m. Because Madeira Beach's high tide's around 2 a.m. So this is kind of what we're keeping an eye on. HRR winds at 2 a.m. showing the same angle pretty much. Winds are about 37, 35. Icon, I don't know if we really use it as much. I don't think the icon is really good right now. And then the NAM's really showing it. NAM's going all in, 61 mile an hour winds. NAM's showing that strong frontal line boundary, less of a high, low, but more of a classic frontal line. But the winds, regardless, could be incoming a little bit here on the coastal areas. So it's the big winds are tonight for the Florida West Coast. Now, another thing that need to point out is, even though whatever happens with the Euro here, this is at 4 a.m. So as we have seen countless times in other storms that were tropical in nature, as a low approaches the Florida Peninsula here, if you're living along the other coast, even though our low is here, look at these winds. Miami 50, Palm Bay 45, Daytona Beach 50, Jacksonville 40. So this area right here is going to get a lot of direct impacts overnight tonight at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So even though our low's here, the winds wrap around, and you're going to see another surge of winds and waves towards the east coast of Florida overnight tonight as the low approaches the west coast. And that's a guarantee. GFS showing the exact same thing with the winds approaching at 1 a.m. tonight. So this is where things get really interesting for the East Coast now. So once our low exits tomorrow, look at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Big winds here, Savannah. We could see wind gusts upwards to 40, 50 miles an hour, 68 miles an hour. They're showing up on the Euro. This is tomorrow morning. This is when our low trying to exit around Jacksonville. This is the big concern across the whole East Coast here. And this has been showing up very consistently. Some pretty big winds. Myrtle Beach, Charleston, 50, 60 miles an hour all the way to the Outer Banks here throughout the day on Sunday. And we'll just have to keep an eye on that because it's been showing up pretty consistently. GFS 65 for the Outer Banks. Sunday, 8 p.m., 67. It's been showing, 70 in spots. These are gusts. These aren't sustained, but, enough to really cause some havoc later tomorrow. I know we got people in Long Island watching. Your weather goes downhill Sunday night with the winds, and your biggest winds for Long Island and Cape Cod are going to be early Monday, and we could still see 50s, 60s, maybe some 70 mile an hour wind gusts up in that neck of the woods. So very windy day, and these are going to stretch all the way to Maine. Big winds all the way to Maine of 68 miles an hour near Bangor, Maine. So pretty powerful. Officially yesterday they did post a high wind alert from Georgia all the way to Maine. So there's no hyping that. We got that. All right, here's another surge map. Let's see our surge map. Nothing official with this map. This kind of gives you an idea. I'm very curious for our area. This is showing up 3.5 foot, almost 4 foot off Madeira Beach area. Max tide obviously around 1, 2 in the morning. So, they're showing about 3 foot, 4 foot surge possibly. In fact, Dennis Phillips just posted they have a surge warning, not a warning, but a surge. I don't know what they call it. Coastal, not a watch anymore. It's coastal flood advisory or something. But, even Tampa Bay here is showing up almost 4 foot. And these are rivaling ADA numbers. But the question I have is, how much time is it going to take for that wind shift to actually drive the water in? So big unknowns, but just know that there are models and maps showing 3 foot surge here in the Tampa Bay area. So those are areas that know, I think ADA's surge was around 4 something. So we could see some definite water, sneaky water popping up in spots. And then of course this goes up. The higher up you go, Homosassa, still showing, 4 foot possibly in Homosassa area, Cedar Key area. Even higher, 4.3, 4.5. And then this map does extend over here to the East Coast. Now, I'm not familiar with surge. I do know that there's a lot of folks in Myrtle Beach, Charleston, concerned about these. This is 5 foot surge. This would be more going towards the morning hours on Sunday. So definitely something to watch here as this water starts piling up here, Savannah and Brunswick. So that's where it's best to, listen to your local advisories and areas that might typically get, surge. But it's a good map. It pretty much shows you cut and dry wherever our storm's going this way. So the water gets pushed with it. And over here it's because the winds pretty much drive, and I don't think the time frame goes out enough for Outer Banks, so I don't know why we would not be seeing anything here. Well, it's because the winds are going straight. They're not coming in. So the only good news on the backside of the Outer Banks is if we had a tropical system, you would have more winds coming in this direction. But I think by now, most of the winds are going to be staying away from the backside, hopefully. So most of your winds are going to be coming on the Atlantic side for that possibility. Now, here's your wave map. We know there's been ship cancellations. We know that some ships have been rerouted. I think I heard there was couple cancels. It's bad right now. There's, red is 20-foot seas currently from the Cape all the way to Bahamas. Incredible seas. Now, when our low pressure takes shape, here's overnight tonight, still 25-foot seas off the Cape. Very powerful. But then we get really going. This is 34-foot seas here, not even at daybreak tomorrow. And then it really gets going. Here's morning tomorrow, Sunday. Look at these values, 40, 45-foot seas. And then this is where it gets interesting. This is Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. And look at that. I mean, these things are getting awfully darn close here to the Outer Banks. Anything in the pinks, 40, 45-foot seas. This is not surge. This is not going to be 45 foot of surge or waves. This is, waves out in the open water. But when you have those 60-mile-an-hour winds, with waves, that just increases that chances of this hitting that East Coast. So got to be big concerns here for the Carolinas, especially North Carolina, with these huge waves expected tomorrow night. Very big waves. And that has not changed in the forecast at all. So, all right, there's that. Now let's look at some individual parameters on the HRR. Nothing's really showing up on the significant tornado parameters, which I don't know. Sometimes these work, sometimes they don't. But I guess the important thing to note here on the significant tornado parameter is this. We just have a lot of color. And that pretty much indicates, we got a big swath of, brighter the colors, more the chance. This is about 2, 3 in the morning for my area. We got the secondary area over here. So, it's to me, it seems like two things are happening. The initial low pressure landfall and then the tail that comes in behind that could bring a lot of action to the East Coast. So that's kind of been the setup. We've had this secondary line of storms rotating up through the state with the main impact of the low itself as it approaches. And they're showing some pretty significant ones just offshore. And this is where you were. This is 1 a.m. Some of these little guys could stick and make their way to land. That's one parameter, and it changes every hour. So, these things get tweaked. 18 hours out here. This is Sunday about 2 a.m. Again, Keys tonight, Southeast Florida tonight, and of course, West Central Florida tonight. So, everything's just pointing to the possibility. It's going to be interesting because, most of the time when you get these rains out ahead of a system, it kind of stabilizes the atmosphere, cools things off. So the fact that we have a dipping jet stream and a lot of upper level wind instability, it's kind of like one offsets the other. And I can read between the lines. Most forecasters are scratching their heads. They don't want to overhype it because they're worried it might be a bust forecast. And then, everybody cries wolf syndrome. And then there's the other side where you want to make it sound like it's nothing. But the fact that the Storm Prediction Center's got us in yellow, and there's a lot of maps you can see for yourself that's showing all this upper level energy, history that we got to watch close. So this is unfortunately tonight. Other things we can look at, this helicity. I don't even know if I ever say it right, but I read a lot about this. This is basically the amount of spin in the atmosphere. It combines with shear, vertical shear, updrafts, but generally this is one thing that they look at when looking at tornado chances. And all this is telling you these are possible rotating supercells that will be coming up through the state tonight. Most of them, here's 2 p.m. today, exactly what the Storm Prediction Center is talking about. 10 a.m., we're already starting to see a couple of them down here. So as the day progresses, we're starting to see throughout the day today possibility of these right here, 4 p.m. tonight. But then the big ones, again, there's two levels. There's the actual center of the storm, and then there's the backside ones coming in. But basically, just this is another parameter that shows that we could see some significant storms out of this thing. And again, most of it's gone by Sunday morning if you're in Florida. So if you're planning on any trips today, tomorrow, 99% chance you're going to have no rain. You're going to have a lot of dry air on the backside. You're going to have, it's going to be windy tomorrow, but at least if you had to cancel something today, you could always do it tomorrow and enjoy the day. And let's see if we can show you that dry air. So here's tomorrow. This is Sunday morning. So by tomorrow morning, this is all dry air that has entered the state, and that'll be a lot of wind, but it's also helping dry things up. This is tomorrow morning. And then again, unfortunately, the storms now are being fueled. Again, the Storm Prediction Center not talking about tornadoes as much, but they are saying a spin up off of the Atlantic is definitely always possible. So Carolina is still watching close. They're more into this straight line wind stuff coming in. And a lowering, deepening pressure in the 980 range. I mean, that's pretty darn low for that area, especially non-tropical season. Latest Euro showing this. Here's your latest GFS. Basically, I mean, all this is the same now. I mean, this is tropical tidbits. Heavy stuff tonight. This is over evening tonight. It's kind of pointless to worry too much now because we know it's going to be a drop. 996 pressure. Lower 991 pressure by tomorrow, 987, 983. So lowering pressures, bigger winds. Latest Euro. 6Z wasn't as aggressive as the overnight Z, but still 997 here, crossing just north of Tampa Bay. Overnight 00Z, a little more organized actually, showing a 993 pressure just north of Tampa Bay tonight. So very curious again on the amount of winds we're going to be seeing spinning in off of the Gulf. Most of the storms are shaping up in twofold areas: the center itself, and then this big old tail. We can look again at HRR and show you what that's going to probably look like here across Florida later today, as we get a dry pocket come in and start to show this right here. This is 18 hours out. This is Sunday 2 a.m. This only goes out this far, but like I said, you got your main low storms, and then you got this secondary tail coming in that's going to be tagging along here, up in the chances, I think, on the East Coast as it starts to dry out here for Central Florida. A lot of people are comparing this to the storm of this. Here's another look. This is 4 a.m. So this would be my thought that we could still see some really sneaky storms coming up overnight tonight into early morning as this secondary tail comes in. So this is 2 a.m. It's going to be out of here by morning. This is 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. A little bit of lingering maybe, but for the most part, it's going to be out of here by noontime. As far as that look, everybody compares it to the storm of '93. Doesn't have the pressures that storm did. However, it kind of has the look a little bit, kind of the same setup. It was during an El Nino year, I believe. But it was a subtropical jet fueled system, and this is an estimated look at kind of what the Euro is showing as far as infrared satellite goes. So that could be what it looks like tomorrow evening, and it will make the Bahamas. I know, or Bermuda. We got people watching in Bermuda. This thing looks like it's going to make its way over there for sure. As a line of storms, maybe down even into Jamaica. So here's Monday night. We got getting close to Bermuda, down into the Dominican Republic, already through Jamaica there. So Monday 3 p.m., it's going to make its way through. Pretty powerful little system there. And then there she goes. So that's that. We're not going to look long range in this forecast because this is too much to take in. It's been a stormy winter. This is like the third system we've tracked now in the last month. That was one long. That was one long sentence. I think that might be a world record from 9:19 to 9:54. I don't think I took one break. So, yo, hell, what you been doing, buddy? I've been thinking about you, man. Mike Soul, good morning, buddy. What's up? Bill Lauderdale, what's up? All our locals over there. William Strunk, appreciate y'all watching over there on YouTube. Hey, and this is the first official broadcast on Instagram. So if you're watching on Instagram, hello. We're streaming live on 4 platforms now. I will be storm chasing. Darn it, I meant to mention that early. Ugh. We'll do a graphic later. So we will be storm chasing later. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what I'm going to do. Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate the stars. Eric, good morning, but appreciate that. Heidi, you're welcome. I hope it was useful for you. So yeah, you know, this is pretty good. What's up, Bill Elmquist? Good morning. What's cooking? Jennifer, my Tarpon Springs buddy. Good morning, Mr. Robbins. Hey, by the way, Mr. Robbins, I love the hula girl, the solar hula girl. That was very nice of you. Mountain to Sea Ministries, our official coffee of Mike's weather page. Pretty cool. Hurricane hunters, I heard about that. Somebody mentioned that earlier. Somebody mentioned hurricane hunters are heading into the storm. I didn't know that. I don't really keep up with that. But you can go on Tropical Tidbits and see. They're probably, I guarantee what they're doing. They're looking at the weather. They want to know upper level winds. You know, hurricane hunters look at a lot more than just nothing out there yet. They measure moisture in the air, you know, shear, upper level winds. All that gets put into these mesoscale NAM and HRR models so that they can do these high resolution updates every hour. So very important. You know, there's a lot of unknowns. I mean, there's, you know, gentleman over on Twitter posted the NAM, one of the indexes that they use for shear, and it really showed chances for Florida Peninsula to have some possible tornadoes. So we'll see. You know, I'm not the official source, that's for sure. But we moved our Christmas party to next week. Thanks for asking. The most important thing, now I get to storm chase and have a party. Oh, you've been busy. Okay, well, that's cool, buddy. Y'all. Karen from Gainesville. You're welcome, Peter. I'm glad I was able to come on. I appreciate you saying that. Lori, yep, you got storm. Yeah, you just got a line of storms. It doesn't look too bad, but it's big enough to push out there for you. Hey, look at Mary Kay. Remember 14 months. Appreciate that. Okay, so storm chasing somewhere. I don't know where I'm going. Hey, but look, this shirt has been through tornadoes, major hurricanes. I don't know what it's been through. Been through hell. But definitely be streaming live later today. There you go. So stay tuned for that. Be safe out there, y'all. You know, we've seen forecasts the last few years. Here's your storm map, by the way, if you're looking for what these colors mean. We've had storm risks here in 5 that ended up not even producing one time. So these are tricky. I think Florida weather is a lot harder to predict tornadoes than Midwest and Tornado Alley. You know, like I said, I remember we had an EF3 go through Lakeland a few years back, and we were under a number 1 threat level. Heard a lot of discussion that, you know, during El Nino, the few outbreaks that we had, were in a yellow number 2. And the Tennessee Tornadoes, I believe, were in a yellow number 2 initially. So, don't, I know deep down inside people want to say it ain't going to be nothing, and maybe it won't be nothing, but you got to take it serious, So, I'm learning the towns over there, Shelly. Anthony, thanks, brother. I was on the bone yesterday doing a toy drive. Hey, thanks to Mike's Weather Page. Let me tell you, Mike's Weather Page, because of y'all. We, along with Tampa Bay Brewing Company, my buddy David was with me. We donated a lot of toys. We bought 4 bikes and a whole cart full of stuff. Scooters, games, remote control cars. We donated to Toys for Tots to support Drew Garabo and John Senning yesterday, and they had me on the show. And I did that many reasons, obviously. I mean, obviously, kids, toys. It was fun for Julie and I because when the kids were little, we used to shop at Toys R Us, and it was a tradition of ours to go to Toys R Us, and it was kind of fun. I'll admit it. It was a yearly thing, the kids, just us, and felt like that yesterday. We were shopping the aisles and reminiscing, buying, getting toys, and so that was cool. And Julie felt good about it. She's like, it felt good doing something good. So we were happy to do that. And they've had us on the show a lot, which means a lot to me because, it helped get us new followers, right? So, oh my God, Quiche So Fly, Perry, Florida. I know you all went from a hurricane to tornadoes to freezing to crazy. Villages, you need to look close, Kathleen. You're right smack dab in this yellow. It could be overnight tornadoes. Could be. So, yeah. It was cheaper back then, Jennifer. Yeah. So I bought Operation. Like, Julie got excited. She likes board games, so she bought Sorry. I mean, I don't think kids play games anymore, do they? But I bought Operation just because I remember as a kid playing Operation. Where you put the thing. Oh, man. So, anyway. Shout out to my boys at Done Right Roofing. They're here locally, Pinellas County. So, unfortunately, we're going to have 2 to 3 to 4 inches of rain. When I talk about rain training, you can get heavy periods of rain. So, if you get a roof leak and you live in our area, call Done Right Roofing. They're good friends of mine. They support Palm Harbor Softball and Emily. They've made a huge donation to them. So, great partner. Of course, we're streaming live on YouTube over there, too. And don't forget our buddies at Direct Remodels. They are huge fans, and we had a great time partying it up, meeting each other. They're giving our fans 40% off because they buy direct. So if you're in the market for hurricane windows and you want a couple cool dudes to support, they're huge in the state of Florida here. So check them out. Read all about it. Read their reviews. They're a good company. And help do what we do. They help put the gas in the storm chaser because we're going out later. I think I covered all the maps. Look at this tropical map even showing up something, but that ain't going to happen. Coastal low. Hey, you never know. I don't know. It's attached to a frontal line. Anything attached to a frontal line, they usually don't let it become tropical, but I don't know. You never know. I mean, you never know. This low pressure. Hey, 981 over the Gulf of Mexico. It's holy cow. Let's look. Let's look at just for fun European and any sort of cyclone look. Holy cow! Never seen this before. Holy. Now this is not tropical formation. This is just low pressure, but God, look at that, man. It's even showing red, 960 to 979 pressure. So, man, the Euro's picked up on this thing, and it's going to be a deepening low pressure as it goes north. Nothing tropical, but holy cow, I've never seen that many ensembles grouped together like that. That was kind of weird. Obviously, no development, but all right. Well, anybody asks about individual areas, I'm just going to leave this map up right here. Look. Let's just pull it up. Let's pull up. I don't think I have it up anymore. This right here. Anybody in the yellow is in play. So It's pointless to ask about individual areas because, look, this is all day and all night long. It should be gone Sunday morning. It's going to push off to the Carolinas tomorrow. No live tonight, Teresa. I'll be in it. Charleston, big waves and winds coming your way. Added a new link I showed yesterday. It's a tide link that kind of shows surge map underneath my Sierra link here. This is one that I found that is from the National Weather Service, so it's kind of official. But it has a slow load time, I've noticed. It's a very slow loading website. Very slow. It's called Extra Tropical Water Level Guidance. So I think it's a pretty cool. It's a storm surge estimator based on non-tropical systems. So you click on your region southeast here, and you can click Charleston. Now, Water Legend is red. That's above HAT. That's the highest astronomical tide ever recorded. So anything hat above indicates surge. It's going to be above the highest tide that you ever had, which basically means surge, basically. But here's, Charleston, possibly 5 to 6 to 7. Peaking out Sunday around noon. So, yeah, it's a cool little map. Wilmington, Beaufort. Let's look at Cape Hatteras. What's that showing? These are all things you can kind of look at. There's a little bit above hat on Cape Hatteras. Not much. But definitely surge along all the Carolina coast as we're going to have strong east winds through Sunday. And that link here is here. There. Surge map. All right. Oh, Chelsea shouldn't be. I didn't have to sign in to see that map, I don't believe. What map is that? All right, cool. Chrissy, Eric Burris is all about the LRC. It's a recurring cycle model system that they use a lot of. And it's a theory that weather repeats itself. And it basically, when he says recycles, it means down the road there'll be a matching type of a system. It's a way that they use to predict hurricane season, long range forecasting, basically. So that I was watching his broadcast earlier, and I saw somebody asked if it could be a reoccurring system, and that means long range. Months from now, it might show up again, meaning the weather patterns repeat themselves over months. So it's a theory that some dude named Gary Lazarick or something. I'm not even sure what his name was, but it's this type of LRC model. It's fascinating. So, yeah, thanks, Shelly, for coming in. I know it's her day off. Hey, Morgan, what's going on? Rusty Bellies, I've been there once. Severe weather for Central Florida. Yes, Weather Boy. Yes. You haven't watched much. You got to watch it. Hi, well, that's it. I have do a little TikTok video, and then we're going to digest some models, and then I'm going to decide where to go. So stay tuned if you want. Later, we're going to be streaming live on storm chasing around the state. Pulling up an all-nighter. It's already getting severe weather down in the Keys. As mentioned, it's going to start building north. I think I covered it all. I didn't waste any time. So if you just signing in, hopefully you can go back and watch it and find some information. Hopefully that's useful. And then we got to hopefully. I said I wasn't going to look long range, but I kind of want to look long range towards Christmas because we're getting close to Party 2.0. Ooh, I like what I see. Nothing. It's incredible. A 993. If this was not December, I mean, look at that. We've looked at these maps our whole life on Tropical Tidbits, right? That would be like Vixen. Crazy. This crazy. 984, 982, 981 pressure on the Outer Banks. This is, Sunday night into Monday morning. Big winds. Deepening system. No snow really attached to this thing. I don't think. Oh, God. Now you got to open up another window now. We had a little bit of snow on the backside showing up yesterday. But it's not really there again. So not a big thing for the mountains. No. Maybe up north some. Well, it is showing pretty heavy now for the Euro. Is that even... Where the hell is that? That's Canada. All right, well, if you're watching in Canada, you're going to get snow. But it doesn't look like we're going to have a lot anywhere. It's not a snow system. It hasn't been from day one. So, but hey, I like the long-range looking here on the weather for Christmas time. Not really seeing anything developing. Big old high pressure, which means hot, heat. I tell you what, at this point, I'll take hot because that means that we have nothing coming. 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. There it is. This is through December 29th. So look at that. That pretty much is telling you there's not a lot of weather coming. Near normal for Florida. Strong winds, El Nino, but high pressure locked in, meaning we might not have much weather for at least through Christmas. Hopefully. Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you. We might be all right as far as no big systems. That would be great to take a damn break. I feel so guilty sometimes. I just so addicted to weather that I just would rather wake up and look at models than drink coffee on the back porch and look at alligators. It's an obsession. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for all the supporters. If you like what I do, you can always subscribe. There's a link right here. There's a PayPal button on there. Obviously, you don't have to. Everything's free. But we do have a lot of great supporters, so thank you. And we will be live later. And pay attention, Florida, especially tonight, because all the chit-chat is pretty much saying the same thing. We got storms brewing. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. And we'll be live Monday unless I decide to go to the Outer Banks. Sorry, Shelly.